Poor mother skips buying her medicine so her daughter can eat. The billionaire in line sees everything and does the unthinkable. The drugstore's bell chimed as Emma pushed the door open with her shoulder. Lily felt heavy in her arms, but she didn't have the strength to let the girl walk on her own. Not today. The fever was hitting hard. Every step hurt. Her entire body felt like it was made of lead. Emma blinked slowly, trying to focus. The white fluorescent lights on the ceiling burned her eyes. Everything was spinning a little. She took a deep breath and kept moving. "Mommy, you're sweating," Lily whispered, placing her small hand on her mother's face. "I'm okay, honey, just a little tired." A lie. She was not okay. It had been 3 days since the fever broke. 3 days without being able to eat properly. 3 days pretending everything was under control because mums aren't allowed to fall apart. Emma stopped in front of the counter. The attendant looked up from the computer. "Can I help you? I need a fever reducer. And an antibiotic. If you have any over-the-counter," the woman frowned. "You need a prescription for antibiotics, sweetie. I can give you the fever reducer and an anti-inflammatory." Emma nodded. Lily played with her hair, twisting a blonde strand between her fingers. It was an automatic gesture, a way to calm herself down. "How much will that be?" Emma asked, her voice coming out weaker than she intended. The attendant typed in the codes, $23. Emma opened her purse. Her hands were shaking. She counted the crumpled bills, the loose change at the bottom. $23. It was exactly what she had. Exactly. She looked at Lily. The girl's light blue eyes shone with curiosity, innocent. Her blonde hair fell messily over her forehead. "Wait here just a second, okay?" Emma murmured, gently placing her daughter on the floor. Lily held onto the hem of her pants. Emma took the medicines the attendant had set aside and just stood there, staring at them in her hands. She needed to think. $23. If she bought the medicine, there would be nothing left, nothing at all. And Lily hadn't eaten anything since breakfast. It was almost 5 in the afternoon. Suddenly, the small voice came from down below. "Mommy, I'm hungry." Emma closed her eyes. Her heart tightened in her chest. "I need the medicine," she whispered, more to herself than to her daughter. But when she opened her eyes and saw Lily looking up at her with those wide blue eyes, the decision made itself. Emma crouched down, getting on the girl's level. "But you are more important." Lily tilted her head, not fully understanding. Emma kissed her forehead and stood up. The decision was made. Emma went back to the counter. "Sorry, I think I'll leave it for later." The attendant blinked, confused. "Are you sure? You don't look very well." "I'm sure, thank you." Emma handed the medicine back. She picked Lily up again and went straight to the food aisle. Crackers, cereal bars, cookies. She grabbed a granola bar. $2.50. Lily could eat half now, half later. "We're going to eat right now, okay?" Emma said, holding her daughter close. Lily nodded and rested her head on her mother's shoulder. Emma went to the checkout, placed the bar on the belt, paid, put the change away. $20.50. That's what was left until the end of the month. There were 12 days to go. As she turned to leave, she felt the weight of someone's gaze, a solid, silent presence. Emma looked up. A man was standing in line. Tall, broad shoulders, a dark, well-tailored suit. He was holding a leather wallet in his hand and looking directly at her. It wasn't a look of judgment, it was something else. Something Emma couldn't identify. She looked away and left the drugstore. The cold street air hit her face. Emma staggered a bit. She held Lily tighter. "It's okay, Mommy," the girl said, hugging her neck. "I'm okay, my love. Let's go sit in the park over there, all right?" Jake Morgan stood in line, watching the blonde woman walk out the door. He had seen everything. The way she picked up the medicine, the quiet conversation with her daughter, the return, the walk to the food aisle, the cereal bar. Jake wasn't the type to notice people. Not like this. He lived on autopilot. Meetings, contracts, numbers, properties, profits. But there was something different about that scene. The way the mother had crouched down to talk to the child. The way she had returned the medicine without hesitation after that, the silent sacrifice, something stirred in him in a way he couldn't explain. The attendant called his turn. "Good afternoon. What will it be?" Jake pointed to the shelf. "The medicine that lady just returned. I'll take it." The woman blinked. "The fever reducer and the anti-inflammatory." "That's right. Will you need anything else?" Jake looked around. He grabbed a box of children's vitamins, a stronger painkiller, some cold medicine. This too. He paid without thinking about the cost. He took the bag and walked out of the drugstore. Outside, he stopped on the sidewalk, looked left, looked right. The woman and the child were crossing the street, heading toward the park on the other side. Jake hesitated. It was none of his business. He didn't know this woman. He knew nothing about her, but something inside him refused to just walk away. He crossed the street. Emma sat on the wooden park bench. Lily slid out of her lap and stood, waiting. "Here you go, sweetie." Emma opened the bar and broke it in half. She handed the larger piece to her daughter. "What about you?" Lily asked. "I already ate. You eat." Another lie. But Lily didn't need to know. The girl bit into the bar eagerly. Emma leaned her head back on the bench and closed her eyes, just for a second, just to rest. The dizziness returned. The world was spinning slowly, like a tired carousel. Emma felt the bench shift. Someone had sat down on the other end. She opened her eyes. It was the man from the drugstore. He was sitting on the far end of the bench, the white drugstore bag in his hand. He didn't say anything, just stared straight ahead as if he were resting too. Emma tensed. Instinctively, she pulled Lily closer. The man noticed the movement. He turned his head slowly. "I'm sorry," he said. His voice was deep, but gentle. "I didn't mean to startle you." Emma didn't answer. She just watched him. He had dark eyes, tired, the kind of eyes that carry weight. She recognized it. It was the same kind of look she saw in the mirror every day. The man held up the bag. "You forgot this at the drugstore." Emma frowned. "I didn't forget anything." "Yes, you did." He held the bag out to her. Emma looked inside. The medicine. The same ones she had returned. Her heart clenched. I can't accept this." "Yes, you can. You don't know me." "No. But I saw you return the medicine and buy food for your daughter." His words were direct. No judgment, no pity, just facts. Emma felt her eyes sting. She bit her lip. "Why would you do this?" Jake took a moment to answer. He looked at Lily, who had stopped eating and was now watching them with curiosity. "Because I can," he said finally, "and because you need it." Emma took the bag. Her hands were shaking. It wasn't just the fever, it was everything. From being too tired, too alone, from trying too hard to be strong. "Thank you," she whispered. Jake nodded. Lily took a step toward him. "Are you my mommy's friend?" Jake blinked. The question caught him off guard. He looked at the girl, at her messy blonde hair, her wide blue eyes, the way she held the bar with two hands, and then something strange happened. Jake smiled. It wasn't a big smile. It wasn't dramatic. It was just a smile. Small, genuine, the first one in a long time. "I think so," he replied. Lily smiled back. "My name is Lily." "That's a flower name. It's a beautiful name. What's yours?" "Jake." "Jake," Lily repeated, testing the sound. "That's easier than mine." Jake let out a low, short laugh, but it was real. Emma watched the scene in silence. There was something in the way this man looked at Lily, something gentle, something safe. "Did you lose your job?" Jake asked, turning to Emma. She nodded. 2 weeks ago, I worked at a coffee shop. I got sick and missed 3 days in a row. When I came back, they had already hired someone else." "And the fever?" "It started right after. I think it was the stress or exhaustion, I don't know." Jake was silent for a moment. "Have you seen a doctor?" Emma gave a humorless laugh. "With what money?" "I see." Lily finished the bar and climbed onto the bench, sitting between them. She swung her little legs. "Mommy says we're going to be okay," she said, looking at Jake. "But I think she's lying." "Lily," Emma scolded, surprised. but Jake didn't seem bothered. He looked at the girl seriously. "Why do you think that?" "Because she cries when she thinks I'm asleep." The silence fell heavy. Emma turned her face away, ashamed. She didn't want this stranger to see the tears that were already starting to form. Jake took a deep breath. "Your mum is going to be okay," he said to Lily, but his eyes were on Emma. "I'm going to make sure of it." Emma stared at him. "You don't have to." "I know I don't have to, but I want to." There was something in his voice, a quiet determination, an unspoken promise. Emma didn't know why, but she believed him. Lily yawned. She leaned her head on her mother's shoulder. "I'm sleepy." Emma ran a hand through her daughter's hair. "Let's go home, then." She stood up slowly. The world spun again. She grabbed the back of the bench. Jake stood up at the same time. "Can you make it home?" "I can. It's close. Let me call a cab." "You don't have to, really." "Emma." She stopped. It was the first time he'd said her name. She hadn't even realized she'd introduced herself. Jake took a step forward. "You almost fainted just now. You're not going to be able to carry her home." Emma knew he was right, but accepting help was hard. It always had been. "Okay," she relented. Jake took his phone out of his pocket and called a car. In 5 minutes, a black sedan pulled up in front of the park. Jake opened the back door. Emma got in with Lily in her lap. The girl was already half asleep. Before closing the door, Jake bent down. "Take my number." He handed her a simple business card. "Name, number. Nothing else. If you need anything, call." Emma looked at the card, then at him. "Why are you doing this?" Jake hesitated. He didn't have a clear answer. He didn't have a rational explanation. He just knew that, for the first time in years, something inside him had woken up, something he thought was dead. "Because everyone deserves help," he said finally. Emma held the card tightly. "Thank you, Jake." He closed the door and tapped the roof of the car. The driver pulled away. Jake stood on the sidewalk watching the car disappear around the corner. He didn't know why, but he was sure he was going to see that woman again. And, strangely, the idea didn't bother him. In fact, it was almost comforting. Jake put his hands in his pockets and walked back to where he had left his own car. But something had changed. Something small. Almost unnoticeable. But real. For the first time in a long time, Jake Morgan felt like he had done something that mattered. Jake was leaving a meeting when he saw her. In the middle of the busy downtown sidewalk, among hurried executives and distracted tourists, Emma Carter was walking too slowly, stumbling, as if every step cost twice what it should. He stopped in the middle of the street. It was her, the woman from the drugstore, Lily's mother. Emma held a thin folder under her arm and looked at the buildings around her as if she were looking for addresses. Her blonde hair was pulled back in a loose ponytail. Her skin was pale, her shoulders slumped. Jake crossed the street without thinking. He hadn't seen Emma since that day in the park 4 days ago. He had thought about calling, several times in fact, but he always chickened out. He didn't want to seem invasive. He didn't want to scare her. But now, seeing her there, clearly unwell, Jake knew he had made the right choice in approaching. Emma stopped in front of a coffee shop, took a deep breath, adjusted the folder, ran a hand over her face as if trying to look more presentable. She went in. Jake waited outside, watching through the window. She went to the counter, took something out of the folder, a resume, probably. She spoke to the barista. The girl shook her head, took the paper, but didn't seem very interested. She didn't even really look at the document. Emma said thank you and left. Jake moved away a little, pretending to look at his phone. Emma walked right past him. She didn't even notice him. She was too focused on staying upright. She went into the shop next door, a bookstore, repeated the process. The same forced smile, the same restrained hope, the same polite rejection, then a clothing store, then a restaurant. Jake followed her at a safe distance. With every stop, Emma got slower, paler, more fragile. He saw the way she leaned against the walls between one establishment and the next, how she took deep breaths before going into each place, how she tried to hide the tremor in her hands. When she left the fifth establishment, she stumbled on the curb. Jake moved forward instinctively, but Emma caught herself on a trash can. She stood there, breathing hard, her hand gripping the metal as if it were the only thing holding her up. People walked around her without even looking. No one stopped. No one cared. That's when he decided to approach her. Emma. She lifted her head sharply. Her blue eyes widened when she recognized him. Jake? Hi. Emma let go of the trash can and stood up straight, trying to look normal. But Jake saw the shaking in her legs, the sweat on her forehead, the way she blinked slowly, fighting the dizziness. What are you doing here? She asked, her voice coming out weaker than she intended. I work nearby. What about you? Emma lifted the folder with effort, handing out resumes. Jake looked at her, really looked. The colorless skin, the sunken eyes, the clothes that seemed too big for her body, the way she barely balanced on her own feet. You're still sick. I'm better. No, you're not. Emma opened her mouth to protest, but a wave of dizziness hit her. She closed her eyes and grabbed the wall next to her. Jake grabbed her arm immediately. You need to see a doctor. I already took the medicine you gave me, she said, still with her eyes closed. I'll be fine. Emma, you can barely stand. I just need a job. She opened her eyes and looked at him. If I can get work, I can pay for a doctor later. Jake took a deep breath, tried to stay calm. You're not going to be able to work in this condition. Yes, I will. No, you won't, and you know it. Emma pulled her arm away, stepping back from him. There was pride in that gesture, stubbornness, the refusal to accept that she needed help. I don't have a choice, Jake. Lily needs to eat. She needs a roof over her head. I can't stop. You can, and you will. With what money? Her voice came out louder than she intended. I don't have money for a doctor. I don't have health insurance. I don't have anything. People around them started to look. Emma noticed and lowered her head, ashamed. Her cheeks turned red. Jake took a step forward. He spoke quietly but firmly. Don't worry, I want to help. Emma looked up. There were tears there now. You already helped. You bought the medicine. You paid for the cab. You've already done too much. I haven't done enough. You're still sick. But I'm not your responsibility, she said, her voice breaking. I know, but I want to do this. Emma shook her head. A tear rolled down. Why do you care? You don't even know me. Jake didn't have a ready answer. He had asked himself the same question for the past few days. Why had this woman and this child affected him so much? Why couldn't he get them out of his head? Why, for the first time in years, did he feel like he needed to do something besides close deals? Maybe because, for the first time in a long time, he had seen something beyond contracts and properties. He had seen real people, a real struggle, real sacrifice. He had seen a mother choose hunger to feed her daughter, and something inside him had woken up. Because you deserve help, he said simply, and because I can give it. Emma was silent. More tears began to fall. I don't know how to thank you. You don't have to. You just have to accept. Emma bit her lip, looked at the ground, at her hands, anywhere but his eyes. Accepting help had always been hard for her. Her whole life, she had been on her own. She always had to manage, always had to be strong, always had to pretend everything was fine, even when it wasn't. But now, in this moment, with her body giving up and her soul just too tired, she couldn't anymore. Okay, she whispered. Jake nodded, feeling a relief he hadn't expected. My car is over there. I'm taking you to a clinic. What about Lily? Where is she? With my neighbor, an elderly lady who lives in the same building. She watches Lily when I go out. I can go get her. She can stay with me while you're being seen. Emma hesitated. The idea of leaving her daughter with Jake, even knowing he was a good person, still made her nervous. But she didn't have much choice. Are you sure? Absolutely. Emma looked into his eyes. There was sincerity there, something solid, trustworthy. Okay, she repeated. Jake parked in front of Emma's building 20 minutes later. It was an old building with peeling paint and cracked windows, but it was clean, tidy. There were potted plants at the entrance and the floor was swept. Emma got out of the car slowly, holding the door for balance. Jake came around and held her arm. "I can manage," she murmured. "I know, but let me help anyway." They climbed to the 3rd floor. The stairs were narrow and creaked with every step. Emma stopped twice to catch her breath. The neighbor, a woman with white hair and a kind smile, opened the door before Emma could knock. Lily was behind her, coloring a drawing on the floor. "Emma, are you all right, dear?" "I am, Mrs. Martha. Thank you for watching her." The woman looked at Jake with obvious curiosity. "Hi," he said, extending his hand. "I'm Jake, a friend of Emma's." "Mrs. Martha shook his hand, analyzing him with experienced eyes. "Uncle Jake!" Lily shouted, dropping her crayon and running to him. Jake bent down and scooped her into his arms. The girl laughed and hugged his neck tightly. He smelled kids, shampoo and crayons. Emma watched the scene, surprised. Lily was never this open with strangers. It always took her time to warm up to new people, but with Jake it was different. It was as if she knew instinctively that he was safe. "Mommy is going to the doctor," Jake explained to Lily, settling her on his hip. "Do you want to stay with me while she's there?" Lily looked at her mom, her blue eyes serious. "Are you going to get better?" "I am, my love." "I promise." "Then I'll stay with Uncle Jake," she decided, hugging him again. Emma thanked Mrs. Martha, grabbed a small backpack with some of Lily's things, and the 3 of them went back down to the car. The clinic was clean, modern, with comfortable leather sofas and magazines organized on glass tables. The air conditioning made the room pleasant. There were plants in the corners and a large aquarium on the wall. Emma had never been in a place like this. She had always gone to public health clinics with huge lines, uncomfortable chairs, and endless waits. Jake went straight to the receptionist, a young woman with dark hair. "I need a doctor for her." "It's urgent." The woman looked at Emma and her expression changed immediately, genuine concern. "Of course, please fill out this form." Jake took the clipboard and handed it to Emma. She sat on one of the sofas and filled it out with trembling hands. Lily settled in next to her, swinging her legs. "Do you have health insurance?" the receptionist asked when Emma returned the form. "No," Emma said quietly, the shame clear in her voice. "No problem," Jake intervened immediately. "I'll be paying." The woman typed something into the computer. "Dr. Harris can see her now. The nurse will be right out to get her." Emma sat next to Jake and Lily. The girl climbed into his lap naturally, as if she had always done it. "Thank you," Emma whispered, looking at Jake. "You don't need to thank me." "Yes, I do. You're doing more for me than anyone ever has." Jake didn't know what to say. He didn't think he was doing anything special, just what felt right. A nurse in blue scrubs appeared at the door. "Emma Carter." Emma stood up, holding the edge of the sofa so she wouldn't wobble. She looked at Lily. "Stay with Uncle Jake, okay? Mommy will be right back." "Okay, Mommy. Go get better," Lily said, waving. Emma smiled, but Jake saw the fear in her eyes. She was scared. Scared of the diagnosis, scared of the cost, scared of everything. He squeezed her hand for a second. "It's going to be okay." Emma nodded and followed the nurse. Jake was left alone with Lily in the waiting room. The sound of the aquarium was relaxing. A TV was playing a news channel on mute. The girl looked at him with those big, curious blue eyes. "You're nice," she said. Jake laughed quietly. Thank you. Mommy likes you." "She does." "Uh-huh. She said you're an angel." Lily tilted her head. "But you don't have wings." Jake let out a genuine laugh. It was the second time he had laughed since meeting these two, and each time it felt easier. "Real angels don't have wings," he said. "Oh, that's just in movies." "Really?" "Really?" Lily seemed to process this information. "So you're a real angel?" Jake smiled. "I don't think so, but thank you for thinking that." They sat in silence for a moment. Lily fiddled with the buttons on his shirt, distracted. Jake looked at her messy blonde hair, her rosy cheeks, the carefree way she swung her legs. Then, suddenly, she said something that caught him completely off guard. Mommy says she's not hungry, but I know she's lying. Jake froze. He looked at the girl. Why do you think that? Lily looked up. There was a sadness there that no 5-year-old should have. Because she gives me all the food, always. She says she already ate, but I know she didn't. I saw her saving her food for me. The words hit Jake like a punch to the gut. Emma was starving herself to feed her daughter. Lily continued, her voice small and serious. I pretend to believe her, because if I don't eat, she gets sad. But I know, Uncle Jake, I know she's hungry too. She paused. Sometimes I hear her tummy rumble at night. Jake felt his eyes burn. He blinked quickly, trying to control himself. He wasn't going to cry there, not in front of the girl, but it was hard, because this 5-year-old child was carrying a weight that no child should carry. She knew too much, saw too much, understood too much. He held her small hand, warm in his. She's going to be taken care of now, he said, his voice rough with emotion. I promise. Lily looked at him with hope shining in her eyes. Really promise? I promise. And you're not going to leave. You're not going to leave us alone again. The question pierced Jake like an arrow, straight to the heart. He hadn't thought about that. He hadn't planned anything beyond helping in that moment. But now, looking into that child's eyes, seeing the hope and fear mixed there, he realized he couldn't just disappear. Not after everything. Not after seeing Emma's sacrifice. Not after making promises. I'm not going to leave, he promised, and he knew it was true. I'm going to stick around. You guys can count on me, Lily smiled. A genuine smile, full of trust and relief. She rested her head on his chest and sighed, relaxing completely. Jake ran his hand through her blonde hair, slowly, a protective gesture, fatherly, something he had never done before. And, strangely, it felt like the most natural thing in the world. An hour and 15 minutes later, the nurse returned. Her face was serious. She's going to need to be admitted. Jake shot to his feet, waking Lily, who had dozed off in his lap. Is it serious? It's a bacterial infection that has spread. She's dehydrated, malnourished, and her immune system is severely compromised. The doctor wants to keep her under observation for at least 2 days. Jake nodded, his heart tight. Do whatever is necessary. Anything. You can see her now. We're getting her room ready. Jake looked at Lily, who was rubbing her eyes. Come with me. Let's go see your mum. She took his hand, and they followed the nurse down a white hallway to a small, clean room. Emma was lying in a hospital bed, hooked up to an IV. There was a monitor beside it showing her heartbeat. She looked so small in that bed, so fragile. When she saw Lily, she tried to smile. Hi, my love. Lily let go of Jake's hand and ran to the bed. Mommy! Jake helped the girl climb up carefully, avoiding the wires and the IV. Are you going to be okay, Mommy? I am. I just need to rest here for a little bit. Lily hugged her mother tightly but gently, as if she knew she was fragile. Emma looked at Jake over her daughter's head. Her eyes were red. Thank you, she said, her voice breaking, for everything. Jake walked over and sat in the chair beside the bed. You're going to stay here until you're better. No worries. I'll take care of everything. Jake, I don't know how I'm going to pay for all this. You don't have to pay, really. But I can't accept this much. Emma, he leaned forward, looking directly into her eyes. Let me do this, please. You need to get better. Lily needs her mom to be healthy. Emma closed her eyes. Tears streamed down her face. So no one has ever done anything like this for me. No one has ever cared. Well, they should have. And now someone does. She looked at him again. There was gratitude there, but also confusion, as if she couldn't understand why this man was doing all this. Why are you so good? Jake didn't know how to answer. He didn't think he was especially good. He was just doing what felt right. Rest, he said gently. I'll stay with Lily. Don't worry about anything. Emma nodded. Exhaustion finally won. The medicine they had given her was also taking effect. She closed her eyes and fell asleep almost instantly, her hand still holding Lily's. Jake stayed there, watching. Lily rested her head on her mum's shoulder, but she was looking at him. "She's going to get better, right, Uncle Jake?" "She will, I promised. Remember?" Lily smiled, sleepy. "I like you." Jake felt his chest warm. Something melted inside him. "I like you too, Lily." And it was true. For the first time in a long time, Jake Morgan felt like he belonged to something. Something small, something fragile, but something deeply real, and he would do anything to protect it. Anything. Jake was sitting in the waiting room when Dr. Harris appeared. The doctor was a middle-aged man, graying hair, his expression serious but kind. "Are you responsible for the patient, Emma Carter?" Jake stood up immediately. "I am." "How is she?" The doctor glanced at Lily, who was asleep on the sofa next to him, hugging a teddy bear Jake had bought from the clinic's gift shop. "Can we talk over there?" He pointed to a more private corner. Jake nodded and followed him, but kept Lily in his line of sight. Dr. Harris crossed his arms, thoughtful. "Emma's situation is more serious than we initially thought." Jake's stomach tightened. "What does she have?" "It's a bacterial infection that has spread through her system. It started as something simple, probably a bad cold, but it escalated because her body wasn't in any condition to fight it." Condition. Severe malnutrition. The doctor paused. "She's about 20 pounds underweight. Her blood work shows deficiencies in several essential vitamins. Her immune system is completely compromised." Jake closed his eyes for a second. "She wasn't eating." "From what we've seen, no, not enough, at least. And when you combine that with extreme physical exhaustion, chronic stress, lack of adequate sleep, the body just can't take it." "Is she going to be okay?" "She will, but it will take time. We're treating the infection with strong antibiotics. She's receiving intravenous nutrition. Her body needs to recover." "How long?" "At least a week in the hospital. After that, she'll need follow-up, proper nutrition, rest. No physical exertion for at least a month." Jake processed the information. "Do whatever is necessary. Any treatment, any test. Don't spare any expense." The doctor studied him for a moment. "May I ask your relationship to her? Are you family?" Jake hesitated. Technically, he wasn't. But something inside him refused to say that. "I'm a friend, someone who cares." "Doctor." Harris nodded, seeming satisfied with the answer. "She's lucky to have you. A lot of people in her situation have no one." Jake looked at Lily sleeping on the sofa. "And her daughter. Can she stay with me while her mother is admitted?" "Of course. In fact, that's better. Emma needs to rest without worrying." "Thank you, doctor. I'll keep you informed of any changes. For now, she's stable and sleeping. The next few days are crucial." Jake shook the doctor's hand and went back to the sofa. He sat next to Lily and leaned his head against the wall. A week, maybe more. He took out his phone and cancelled all his meetings for the week. He sent an email to his assistant, saying he was dealing with a family emergency. Family emergency. The words felt right, even if they weren't technically true. Lily woke up an hour later, rubbing her eyes. "Where's Mommy?" "She's still resting. The doctor said she needs to sleep a lot to get better." "Can I see her?" "Later, okay? Right now, let's let her rest." Lily nodded, but Jake saw the worry in her eyes. "Are you hungry?" The girl thought for a second and shook her head. "No." Jake didn't believe her. Lily had the same habit as her mother of denying her needs. "How about we go get something to eat? I'm starving." Lily looked at him. "You are?" "I am, and it would be nice to have some company. Will you keep me company?" The girl smiled. "Okay." Jake took Lily to a family restaurant 2 blocks from the clinic. It was a simple place with colorful tables and a kids' menu. Lily looked at the menu with wide eyes. "They have pancakes." "You like pancakes?" "I love them, but I haven't had them in a long time." Jake felt a pang in his chest. "Then let's order pancakes and juice. And whatever else you want." Lily ordered pancakes with chocolate and strawberries. Jake ordered a sandwich but barely touched his food. He was too busy watching the girl eat with gusto. "Is it good?" he asked. "It's so good," Lily said with her mouth full, chocolate showing on her teeth. Jake laughed. He took a napkin and wiped her face. "You look like Mommy when you laugh," Lily said suddenly. "I do. Mommy doesn't laugh much, but when she does it's pretty, just like you." Jake didn't know what to say. No one had ever told him he looked nice when he laughed. In fact, no one ever commented on him laughing because he just didn't. Not before he met these two. "Thank you," he said finally. Lily kept eating. After a while, she asked, "Uncle Jake, do you have a family?" The question caught him off guard. "I have a father and a mommy. My mother died when I was little, like my grandma. She died before I was born." Jake nodded. He knew little about Emma's history, but he knew she had grown up with just her mom. "Do you miss your mommy?" Lily asked. "I do, every day. I would miss mine too, that's why I'm glad you're helping her." Jake felt his chest tighten again. This girl had a way of saying simple things that cut deep. "I'm glad I can help too." Lily finished her pancakes and drank her juice to the last drop. Then she leaned back in her chair, satisfied. "Now I'm full." "Good. Want dessert?" Her eyes lit up. "Can I?" "Of course." Lily ordered vanilla ice cream with caramel sauce. Jake ordered coffee. While they waited, Lily swung her legs under the table. "Uncle Jake?" "What do you do?" Jake blinked. "What do you mean?" "For work, what do you do?" "Oh, I build really tall buildings." Lily's eyes went wide. "Like skyscrapers?" "Exactly." "Wow, you must be really strong to carry all those bricks." Jake let out a genuine laugh. "I don't carry the bricks. I do the planning. I design the buildings, decide how they'll be built, where they'll go." "Oh, you draw?" "Sort of. I use a computer to make the designs." Lily thought for a moment. "Can you build a house for me and Mommy?" The question was so simple, so innocent, but it hit Jake like lightning. He looked at the girl, at her messy blonde hair, her hopeful blue eyes, the way she looked at him, believing he could do anything. "I think I can do something even better," he said, his voice thick. "Go better than a house?" "Much better," Lily smiled, even without fully understanding what he meant. But Jake understood. In that moment, a decision formed in his mind. He didn't know exactly how yet, but he knew he was going to do something, something that would change their lives forever. They went back to the clinic after lunch. Jake asked if they could see Emma, and the nurse allowed it, but warned them she was still sleeping. The room was quiet, just the sound of the monitor and the IV machine. Emma looked more rested, with a little more color in her face. Lily climbed onto the chair beside the bed and held her mother's hand. "Hi, Mommy, it's me. Uncle Jake took me to eat pancakes." "It was so good. You'll like it when you try it." Emma didn't wake up, but her fingers twitched slightly. Lily kept talking, telling her about the restaurant, the ice cream, about everything. Jake stood there, listening, watching. There was something profoundly moving about watching this child talk to her sleeping mother, as if the words could heal her. As if love could be medicine. And maybe it could. The next few days fell into a routine. Jake would take Lily to visit Emma in the morning. They would stay for an hour, Lily talking non-stop, Emma listening when she was awake, sleeping when she couldn't keep her eyes open. Afterward, Jake would take Lily to eat, for a walk, to the park. Anywhere that could distract her from worrying about her mom. On the third day, he took her to a bookstore. Lily was enchanted by the children's section. "Can I pick one book?" she asked, shyly. "You can pick as many as you want." "As many as I want." "As many as you want." Lily chose 5 books. Jake bought all 5 and 3 more he thought she would like. At night, in the hotel room Jake had rented for them, he would read the books aloud while Lily nestled beside him in bed. It was strange. Jake had never done anything like this. Never taken care of a child. Never read bedtime stories. Never worried about whether someone had brushed their teeth or changed their clothes. But with Lily, it all felt natural. Easy. She trusted him completely, and that trust was both comforting and terrifying, because Jake knew he couldn't let her down. He couldn't fail. On the 4th day, Emma was awake when they arrived. She looked better, more alert, more present. "Hi, my love," she said when she saw Lily. The girl ran and hugged her mother carefully. "You're better." "I am." Thank God and Uncle Jake. Emma looked at him over her daughter's head. Thank you, she said, for everything, for taking care of her, for... You don't need to thank me, Jake interrupted gently. It's my pleasure. And it was true. For the first time in his life, Jake was doing something that truly mattered. It wasn't about money. It wasn't about success. It was about people, about connection, about love. The word surprised him, but that's what it was. He loved this little girl, and he was starting to feel something deep for her mother, too. It was a different kind of love, protective, caring, real. And Jake didn't want it to end. On the 5th day, Dr. Harris had good news. The infection is responding well to the antibiotics. Her nutritional levels are improving. If she keeps this up, she could be discharged in 2 days. Jake felt an enormous sense of relief. That's great. But she will need continued care, a balanced diet, rest, regular medical follow-ups. Don't worry. I'll make sure she has all of that. The doctor smiled. You're a good friend, Jake. More than a friend, Jake thought, but he didn't say anything. That afternoon, while Emma slept and Lily drew at the small table in the room, Jake stepped out to make some calls. He called his lawyer. I need you to prepare some documents. What kind of documents? I'll explain, but it needs to be fast. Jake detailed what he wanted. The lawyer was surprised but agreed to handle everything. Then Jake called his assistant. I need you to find a house, 3 bedrooms, a yard, good neighborhood, near a school. To buy or rent? Buy, and I want it ready in a week. A week? Jake, that's impossible. Nothing is impossible. Make it happen. Jake hung up and went back to the room. Lily had drawn a picture of a house with 3 people in front, a tall blonde woman, a small blonde girl, and a tall man with dark hair. Who are these? Jake asked. Mommy, me, and you, Lily said, pointing to each figure. And why am I in the picture? Lily looked at him like it was obvious. Because you're family now. Jake felt his eyes sting. He bent down and hugged the girl. Thank you, Lily. You're welcome, Uncle Jake. Emma had woken up and was watching the scene with tears in her eyes. When Lily went to the bathroom, Emma called Jake over. You don't have to do all this. I know. Then why? Jake sat in the chair beside her bed. He took her hand. Because you two made me feel something I've never felt before. What? That I matter. That I can make a difference in someone's life. That I can be more than just a cold businessman. Emma squeezed his hand. You're not cold. You're the kindest person I've ever met. Jake smiled. You two changed me. And I don't want to go back to being who I was before. You won't. No, I won't. Lily came back from the bathroom and climbed onto the bed with her mom. Jake stood there, watching them, the blonde mother and the blonde daughter, 2 people who had come into his life by chance and who were now the most important people in the world to him. And Jake knew, without a shadow of a doubt, that he would do anything for them. Anything. On the 6th day, Emma managed to walk a little down the hall. She was weak, but improving. On the 7th day, Dr. Harris confirmed her discharge for the next day. But remember, he said, rest, nutrition, follow-ups. She'll have all of it, Jake assured him. That night at the hotel, Lily asked, Uncle Jake, and when Mommy gets out of the hospital, are we going back to our house? Jake looked at her. How about I show you a surprise tomorrow? What kind of surprise? If I tell you, it's not a surprise anymore. Lily giggled. Okay, I like surprises. Jake liked them too. And the surprise he had prepared was going to change everything. The morning of the 8th day arrived with soft sunlight streaming through the hospital window. Emma was sitting on the bed, dressed in her own clothes for the first time in a week. Her blonde hair was down, falling over her shoulders. She looked different. Still pale, still thin, but there was life in her eyes again. Jake arrived with Lily bouncing beside him. Mommy! The girl shouted, running to the bed. Hi, my love. Emma hugged her daughter tightly. You've grown in these last few days, Lily laughed. No, I didn't, Mommy. You're the one who got smaller. Emma let out a genuine laugh. Jake felt his chest warm at the sound. How are you feeling? He asked. Much better. Still tired, but much better. Has the doctor been by? He has. He said I can go home today. Lily jumped on the bed. We're going home. We're going home. Emma smiled, but Jake saw the worry in her eyes. She was happy to leave the hospital, but she was returning to the same difficult situation. No job, no money, no prospects. He moved closer and sat in the chair beside the bed. You'll be home soon. Emma looked at him, confused. But you just said... I know what I said. There was something in his tone, something Emma couldn't decipher. Doctor. Harris entered the room with a chart in his hand. Good morning, ready to go home? More than ready, Emma said. Excellent. I'm just going to go over the final instructions. He opened the chart. You'll continue the antibiotics for another 10 days. I have the prescription here. I'm also prescribing vitamins and nutritional supplements. Jake took the prescriptions from the doctor's hand. I'll take care of this. You'll need to eat well, Dr. Harris continued, looking at Emma. 5 to 6 small meals a day. Nothing heavy at first, but nutritious, protein, vegetables, fruits. Emma nodded, but Jake saw the tension in her jaw. She knew she couldn't afford to follow those instructions. And rest, the doctor emphasized, at least 2 weeks off work, no physical exertion. Understood, Emma said quietly. I'll schedule a follow-up for 15 days from now. Anything before that, any fever, any pain, you come back immediately. You got it, Jake said. I'll make sure she follows everything perfectly, Dr. Harris smiled. I'm sure you will. He looked at Emma. You're lucky to have a friend like this. Emma looked at Jake. Her eyes welled up. I know. The doctor shook both their hands and left. The nurse came in right after with the discharge papers. John, I just need you to sign here, here, and here. Emma signed with a shaky hand. She was anxious to leave, but at the same time, afraid. The hospital had been a refuge. There, she didn't have to worry. She didn't have to think about the next day. But now, going back to reality, it all came rushing back, the bills, the rent, the food, the uncertain future. Jake noticed the change in her. Ready? He said gently. Emma nodded. Lily grabbed the small backpack with her things. Jake offered Emma his arm. She hesitated for a second, but accepted. She needed the support. Her legs were still weak. They left the room, walked down the hall, took the elevator. Emma looked back one last time before the doors closed. Are you okay? Jake asked. I am. It's just weird. It's been a long time since I stayed in one place for so long. You were very brave. Emma gave a humorless laugh. Brave? I passed out from exhaustion in the middle of the street. And even so, you were out there trying to get a job. You were fighting. That's brave. Emma looked at him. There was sincerity in his dark eyes. Thank you, she whispered. The elevator opened on the ground floor. They crossed the lobby to the parking lot. Jake opened the back door for Lily, then helped Emma into the passenger seat. What's the address? He asked, starting the engine. Emma gave him the address. It was 20 minutes away. The ride was silent. Lily hummed quietly in the back seat. Emma looked out the window, watching the city go by. Jake drove carefully, avoiding potholes and bumps. When they arrived at the building, Jake parked out front. It was an old building, 3 stories. The walls faded by time. But there were flower pots at the entrance and the ground was clean. This is it, Emma said. Jake got out and helped her out. Lily ran ahead. I'm going to go see Mrs. Martha. Don't run, Lily, Emma called out, but with no real strength in her voice. They climbed the stairs slowly. Emma stopped on every landing to breathe. Jake held her arm, a patient. On the 3rd floor, Lily was already knocking on the neighbor's door. Mrs. Martha opened it with a huge smile. Emma, you're back? I'm back, Mrs. Martha. Thank you for everything. Not at all, dear. Lily is a sweetheart. The woman looked at Jake. You took good care of her. She's the one who took care of me, Jake said. Emma unlocked the door to the adjacent apartment. It was small, very small. A combined living room and kitchen, 1 bedroom, 1 bathroom. But it was clean, organized. There were curtains on the windows, a worn but comfortable sofa, a small table with dried flowers in a vase. Lily ran to the bedroom. My bed, my toys. Emma walked in slowly. She looked around as if seeing it all for the first time. It's small, she said, embarrassed, but it's ours. Jake came in behind her. It's a home. That's what matters. Emma smiled, but her eyes were misty. "Want to sit?" she offered, pointing to the sofa. "I do. But first, let me bring some things up from the car." "Things? I'll be right back." Jake ran down the stairs before Emma could protest. He returned 5 minutes later with 4 large bags. Emma looked at the bags, confused. "What is this?" "A few things you'll need." He started taking items out of the bags. Food, lots of food. Rice, beans, pasta, tomato sauce, canned tuna, crackers, cereal, milk, juice, fruits, vegetables, bread, cheese, ham. "Jake," he continued, "toiletries, shampoo, soap, toothpaste, toilet paper, pads, diapers." "Jake, this is too much." "Medicine. The antibiotics, the vitamins, painkillers, fever reducers." "Jake, stop." He stopped and looked at her. Emma was crying. Tears streamed down her face non-stop. "I can't accept all this." "Yes, you can." "It's too much. It's just too much." Jake walked over to her. "Emma, you need to eat. You need to take care of yourself. Let me help." "But why?" Her voice broke. "Why are you doing this? You don't owe me anything." Jake placed his hands gently on her shoulders. "Because I want to. Because I care." Emma sobbed. No one has ever done anything like this for me. They should have, but they didn't. I've always had to manage on my own." "Always." Jake pulled her into a hug. Emma resisted for a second, but then she gave in. She cried on his shoulder, years of loneliness and exhaustion pouring out in sobs. Lily appeared at the bedroom door, holding a teddy bear. "Is Mommy sad?" Jake looked at the girl. "Your mommy's happy, Lily. Sometimes we cry when we're happy, too." Lily seemed to accept the explanation and went back to her room. Emma pulled away, wiping her face with her hands. "I'm sorry." "You don't have to be sorry. I'm a mess. You're human." Emma let out a wet laugh. "Thank you, Jake, for everything. For the hospital, the medicine, the food, for taking care of Lily, for being my friend." The word hung in the air between them. Friend, was it more than that? Jake didn't know, but he knew that these two females had become the most important people in his life. "You weren't just a help," Emma said, looking into his eyes. "You were a friend, and that I've never had." Jake felt his heart clench. Never. It's always been just me and Lily. Before her, just me and my mum, and before that, just my mum. And your father." Emma shook her head. "I don't have a father. I mean, I do, obviously, but I never knew him." "Your mum never told you who he was?" "No, she took that secret to her grave." Emma went to the kitchen and started putting the food away. Jake helped. "My mum's name was Helen," Emma said as she organized the cans. "She was a housekeeper." Jake stopped, a box of cereal in his hand. "Was? She died when I was 20. Cancer. I'm sorry." "Thank you." Emma continued putting things away. She worked her whole life in rich people's houses. Cleaning, cooking, taking care of other people's kids. Jake didn't say anything. He just listened. When she was 25, she worked in a very big house, a rich businessman, traditional family. Emma paused. She never said his name. "But I know she got involved with her boss." Jake's stomach tightened. "She told you this?" "She did. Years later, when I was a teenager, she said it had been a mistake, that he was married, that she had been an idiot to believe his promises." Emma closed the cabinet door and turned to Jake. "When she found out she was pregnant, she quit and left. Never went back, never told him. Why? Pride, I guess, and fear. She knew he would never take responsibility. She knew she'd be accused of being a gold digger, so she just left and raised me on her own." Jake swallowed hard. "She never told you who your father was?" "No. She said it was better this way, that he didn't deserve to know me." Emma gave a sad laugh. "But I know he was rich. My mom let some details slip over the years. The house was huge. They had a drivers, a gardeners, a cook, the kind of place regular people can't even imagine." Emma went to the living room and opened a drawer in an old dresser. She took out a photograph. "This is my mom." She handed the photo to Jake. It was an old photo, yellowed with time. a beautiful blonde woman, maybe in her early 20s, wearing a maid's uniform. Black and white and with an apron, she was smiling at the camera, but there was sadness in her eyes. Jake looked at the photo and felt the world stop. He knew that woman, not personally, but he had seen her before. Years ago, when he was a child, Helen, the housekeeper who worked at his house when he was 10, 11 years old, the kind woman who always left warm cookies for him after school, the one who smiled even when his father yelled, the one who had suddenly disappeared without warning, without a goodbye. Jake felt the blood run cold in his veins. Emma was Helen's daughter, Helen who worked at the Morgan house, Helen who had gotten involved with her boss, with Richard Morgan. With Jake's father, which meant, no, it couldn't be. Jake looked at Emma, at her blonde hair, her blue eyes, the shape of her face. He had never noticed it before, but now that he knew, he saw it. There was something familiar about her, something he hadn't been able to identify. She looked like his father, the same blue eyes, the same jawline. Emma was Richard's daughter, Jake's half-sister. The room started to spin. "Jake, are you okay?" He blinked, coming back to reality. "I am sorry, it's just..." The photo reminded me of someone. Emma took the photo back. She was beautiful, wasn't she? She was. I wish I were as strong as her. Raising Lily on my own, without depending on anyone, just like she raised me. You are strong, very strong. Emma put the photo back in the drawer. Sometimes I don't feel strong. Sometimes I just feel too tired. Jake wanted to tell her the truth. He wanted to tell her what he had just discovered, but the words wouldn't come out. How was he going to say it? How was he going to tell her that the rich father who abandoned her was the same cold, cruel man Jake called Dad? How was he going to tell her they were siblings? He needed time. He needed to think. He needed to be sure. "You should rest," he said, changing the subject. "You've had a long day." Emma nodded. "You're right. I'm exhausted. I'll get going then." "But anything at all, you call me." "Okay." Jake went to the door, stopped, turned around. "Emma? Yes? I'm glad I met you. And Lily." Emma smiled. "Me too. You changed our lives, Jake. I'll never forget it." Jake nodded and left. He went down the stairs in a daze, got in his car, sat there, hands on the wheel, without starting the engine. Emma was his sister. Lily was his niece. And his father, the man Jake despised so much, had abandoned them both without ever looking back. Jake rested his head on the steering wheel. What was he going to do now? Jake spent 3 whole days without showing up. Emma called twice, but he said he was dealing with work things. His voice sounded strange, distant. Lily asked every day, "Where's Uncle Jake?" "He's busy, honey, but he promised he wouldn't leave. And he hasn't. He's just busy." But Emma was worried too. Ever since that day she showed him her mother's photo, Jake had been different. She had seen something change on his face. On the 4th day, Jake showed up at the door. It was mid-afternoon. Lily was coloring at the little table in the living room. The doorbell rang. "Oh, I'll get it," Lily yelled, running. "Lily, wait." But the girl had already opened the door. "Uncle Jake." Emma came out of the kitchen, drying her hands. Jake was standing there, hands in his pockets, his face serious. "Hi," he said. "Hi, come in." Jake came in. Lily grabbed his hand. "You disappeared." "Sorry, I had to take care of some things. But you're not going to disappear again, right?" "No, I'm not going to disappear." Emma closed the door. "Want some coffee?" "No, thank you. I need to talk to you." Emma's stomach tightened. "Okay, of course." Jake looked at Lily. "Lily, can you go color in your room for a little bit? Your mom and I need to talk about grown-up stuff. Boring stuff." "Sort of." Lily gathered her crayons and went to her room. Emma sat on the sofa. Jake sat in the chair across from her. The silence was heavy. "You're scaring me," Emma said. Jake took a deep breath. "Remember the photo you showed me? Of your mom?" "I remember." "Emma, your mom. She worked at the house I grew up in." Emma blinked. "What do you mean?" "I recognized her. Helen, she worked at my house when I was a kid. Emma's heart hammered. Are you sure? Positive. I remember her. She was kind to me. Emma felt the world tilt. This can't be a coincidence. It's not. Jake leaned forward, and the man she got involved with was my father. The silence that fell was deafening. Emma stared at him, tried to process. Your father. Richard Morgan. Emma got off the sofa, took a few steps. So, then we might be related, Jake said. Emma's legs buckled. She grabbed the back of the sofa. No, it can't be. It can, Emma. But tears started to fall. Are you saying your father is my father too? I'm not certain, but all signs point to it. Emma shook her head. That's why he never looked for me. That's why my mom never told. My father is cold, selfish. If he had known your mother was pregnant, he probably wouldn't have cared. Emma let out a humorless laugh. Of course not. Why would he care about a pregnant housekeeper? Emma. I'm the daughter of a man who doesn't even know I exist. Her voice rose. And you're my brother? Probably. Emma covered her face with her hands. Jake crossed the room and stood near her. I know this is hard. Hard, Jake. You helped me. You took care of me and Lily. You were the first person who actually cared, and now you're telling me we might be related. I know, I'm trying to process it too. How long have you known? Jake hesitated. Since the day you showed me the photo. 3 days. You've known for 3 days and you didn't tell me. I needed to be sure. I needed to think about how to say it. You just say it. It's not that simple. The two stood there, face to face, breathing heavily. I'm sorry, Jake said, quieter. I didn't want to hide it. I just needed to process. Emma sat back down on the sofa. My whole life, I wondered who my father was. I made up 1,000 different versions in my head. She looked at Jake. I never imagined I'd find out like this. Jake sat next to her. I'm so sorry. It's not your fault. I know. But still. Emma wiped her tears. Your father. Is he a bad person? He's controlling. Cold. He only cares about money and power. My mother died when I was young and he was never present, and now he might be my father too. He might. So we might be siblings. Yes, Emma looked at him. And there's only one way to know for sure, Jake said. A DNA test. Exactly. Emma nodded slowly. Do you want to do it? I think we need to know the truth. And your father. Will he take the test too? I'll make him. How? I don't know yet, but I'll find a way. Emma was silent. If it's true, if we really are siblings, everything changes, doesn't it? Some things change, others don't. What doesn't change? Jake looked into her eyes. The fact that I care about you and Lily. The fact that I want to help. The fact that you two are important to me. Emma felt the tears welling up again. I care about you too. You saved our lives. And if we are siblings, it means I have even more reason to take care of you. It means we're family. Family. The word echoed in Emma's head. She never had family besides her mom and then Lily. She never had siblings, cousins, grandparents. And now maybe she had a brother. Okay, she said. Let's do the test. Jake nodded. I'll schedule it, and I'll go talk to my father. Will he agree? He doesn't have a choice. Emma gave a weak laugh. You sound determined. I am. You deserve to know the truth. And he needs to take responsibility for what he did. Even if it's 27 years later. Especially after 27 years. Lily appeared at the bedroom door. Did you guys stop talking about boring stuff? Emma quickly wiped her face. We're done, honey. Lily ran to Jake and climbed into his lap. Are you staying for dinner? Jake looked at Emma, who nodded. I am. Yay, we're having pasta. Pasta sounds great, Jake said, hugging the girl. Emma went to the kitchen to make dinner. Jake stayed in the living room with Lily, helping her finish her drawing, but his head was far away, thinking about his father. About the difficult conversation he would have, about the test that would change everything. Emma cooked on autopilot. Her hands went through the motions, but her mind was elsewhere. A brother. She might have a brother. And if it was true, it meant the father she never knew was a cold, rich man who had abandoned her mother without a second glance. But at the same time, it meant Jake was her brother. And that was a gift in the middle of all the pain. "It's ready," she announced. The three of them sat at the table. Lily talked non-stop. Jake and Emma smiled, nodded, answered, but there was a weight in the air that only the two of them felt. After dinner, Jake said goodbye. At the door, Emma grabbed his arm. "Thank you for telling me, for wanting to find the truth. You deserve it. I don't know what happens now. Nobody does, but we'll figure it out together." Emma nodded. Jake went down the stairs and got in his car. Now came the hard part, confronting his father. Jake scheduled the meeting for a Tuesday afternoon. Emma had been nervous since the morning. She changed her outfit 3 times. Fixed her hair, messed it up, fixed it again. "You look nice," Jake said when he arrived to pick her up. "I'm shaking." "I know, but I'll be right beside you." Emma took a deep breath. What if he's horrible? He's going to be horrible, but we have to do this. Lily stayed with Mrs. Martha. Emma kissed her daughter about 10 times before leaving. "Come back soon, Mommy." "I will, honey, I promise." In the car, Emma was quiet. She looked out the window, her hands clutching her purse in her lap. "Does he live far?" she asked. "About 40 minutes from here." "What's the house like?" "Big, cold, just like him." Emma looked at Jake. "You don't like your father?" "No," Jake said bluntly. "I never have." "Why?" "Because he was never a real father. He was a boss, someone who gave orders and expected obedience." "Did he hit you?" "No. He was worse than that. He ignored me. Indifference hurts more than anything." Emma understood. She knew that pain all too well. They drove in silence the rest of the way. When they entered the neighborhood, Emma's eyes went wide. The houses were enormous. Mansions with high gates, huge lawns, expensive cars in the driveways. "This is where you grew up?" "It is. It must have been different." It was lonely. Jake pulled up to an iron gate. He pressed the intercom. "Who is it?" a female voice asked. "Jake Morgan." The gate buzzed open. Emma looked at the house ahead. It was massive, 3 stories, giant windows, white columns at the entrance. "My God," she whispered. "It's just a house," Jake said. "It's not just a house, it's a palace." Jake parked in the front. A woman in a uniform opened the door before they even got out of the car. "Good afternoon, Mr. Morgan." "Hi, Clara. Is my father in?" "In his study. He's expecting you." Jake led Emma inside. The foyer was bigger than her entire apartment. Marble floors, crystal chandelier, a sweeping staircase. Emma felt small, out of place. Jake took her hand. "Breathe." They climbed the stairs to the 2nd floor. Jake knocked on a dark wooden door. "Come in," a deep voice commanded. Jake opened the door. The study was all dark tones. Wood, leather, books. A huge desk dominated the center. Behind it, a man in his 60s read something on a computer. Richard Morgan didn't look up when they entered. "You said it was important," he said, still looking at the screen. "It is important," Jake said. "Then get on with it. I have a meeting in half an hour." Jake looked at Emma. She was pale but steady. "Dad, this is Emma Carter." Richard finally looked up. He was tall, you could tell even while he was sitting, perfectly combed grey hair, an expensive suit. Cold, curious blue eyes, the same eyes as Emma. He looked at her with no expression. "And," Emma took a step forward, "Mr. Morgan, my mother worked for you 28 years ago. A lot of people have worked for me. I don't remember all of them." Emma opened her purse with trembling hands. She took out the photo. Her name was Helen Carter. She placed the photo on the desk. Richard glanced at the photo. Something flickered across his face. Recognition, but it was fast. "So, she's my mother." Emma took a deep breath. "And you might be my father." The silence that fell was heavy. Richard leaned back in his chair. A sneer appeared on his face. Another one looking for an inheritance. He gave a dry laugh. Typical. Emma felt as if she'd been slapped. Just not looking for an inheritance. Of course you are. You all are. You show up out of nowhere with fabricated stories, old photos, hoping to get something. It's not a fabricated story. Emma's voice rose. My mother worked here. She got involved with you. She left pregnant. Richard didn't seem fazed. Your mother may have worked here, yes. But that doesn't prove anything. You don't even remember her. I barely remember what I had for breakfast. You think I'm going to remember a housekeeper from 30 years ago? Jake took a step forward. Yes, you do? I saw your face when you looked at the picture. Richard looked at his son. Stay out of this. I'm already in it. Emma is important to me. Important? Richard raised an eyebrow. How long have you known this girl? 2 weeks. And you're already playing her savior. It doesn't matter how long. What matters is that she could be my sister, your daughter. Richard let out a cold laugh. Jake, you've always been naive. Anyone can show up with an old photo and a sob story. Emma felt the tears burning, but she wouldn't let them fall. I don't want your money. I just want to know the truth. The truth. Richard stood up. The truth is, you're just another opportunist trying to cash in on the Morgan name. I'm not. My mother never even said your name. She died without telling me who you were. I only found out by accident. A very convenient story. Jake slammed his hand on the desk. Enough. Richard glared at him. Don't raise your voice to me. Then stop being an ass. The two men stared each other down. The tension was palpable. Jake took a deep breath. We'll do a test. Settle this once and for all. Richard crossed his arms. A DNA test. Exactly. And why would I do that? Because if she's not your daughter, you'll be rid of her forever, and if she is, you'll have to own up to it. Richard thought for a moment. And if I refuse, I'll make this public. I'll tell the papers you might have a daughter you've never met. We'll see how your shareholders like that. It was a bluff. Jake knew it, but it worked. Richard's eyes narrowed. You wouldn't try me. Father and son faced off, two stubborn men in a silent war. Finally, Richard sighed. Fine, we'll do the damn test. Emma let out the breath she'd been holding. Thank you. Don't thank me. I'm doing this to prove you wrong. And when I do, I want you out of my life and out of my son's life. If I'm wrong, I'll disappear, I promise. Richard picked up the phone. Clara, call Dr. Patterson. Tell him I need a DNA test. Urgent. He hung up and looked at Emma with disdain. The doctor will be here tomorrow to collect the samples. The results will be back in a week. A week, Emma repeated. A week to end this charade. Jake took Emma's arm. Let's go. They left the study, walked down the stairs, left the house. Only when they were in the car did Emma fall apart. She cried, sobbed, let it all out. Jake held her hand. I told you he was horrible. You did, but it still hurts. I know. Emma wiped her face. He doesn't even care. Not one bit. He doesn't care about anyone. Not even me. How did you live with a man like that? By surviving. That's all. Emma looked at the mansion behind them. If he is my father, I don't want anything from him. Nothing. You won't need it. You have me. Emma looked at Jake. Thank you. For being here. For fighting for me. Always. Jake started the car and drove away. In 1 week they would have the answer, and nothing would ever be the same. The longest week of Emma's life finally came to an end. Jake called on a Thursday morning at 9 o'clock. The results are in. Emma's stomach churned. She was washing dishes. She dropped the plate in the sink. Come to my father's office, 2 o'clock. Jake, just tell me now. It's better if we're together when we open it. Emma hung up with trembling hands. She stood in the kitchen, just breathing. Lily was eating cereal at the table. Mommy, you look pale. I'm fine, honey. You're lying again. Emma gave a nervous laugh. Her daughter knew her too well. Today I'm going to find out something very important, and I'm nervous. Lily tilted her head. Is Uncle Jake going to be there? Yes. Then it's okay. He takes care of us. Emma hugged her daughter. Sometimes the wisdom of a 5-year-old was exactly what she needed to hear. Mrs. Martha agreed to watch Lily. Emma took a shower, put on the nicest clothes she owned, put on lipstick. When she looked in the mirror, she saw her mother looking back. "Mom, today I'll know," she whispered. "Today I'll find out who he is." Jake arrived right on time. Emma went downstairs and got in the car. "Ready?" he asked. "No, but let's go anyway." The drive was silent, each lost in their own thoughts. Emma found herself imagining both scenarios. If the result was negative, she would go back to her life. But if it was positive, she would have a father who didn't want her, and a brother she already loved. When they arrived at the mansion, Richard was already in his study. The white envelope was on his desk. He didn't stand up when they entered. "You're here." "We're here," Jake said. Richard pointed to the envelope. "There it is. I haven't opened it." Emma looked at the envelope, so small, and yet it held the power to change everything. Jake picked up the envelope slowly. "Let's open it together." Richard shrugged, as if he didn't care. But Emma saw the tension in his jaw. Jake tore open the envelope. He took out the paper. He read it. His face didn't change immediately, but Emma saw his eyes well up. "Jake," she whispered. He looked at her, took her hand. "Probability of paternity, 99.9%. The world stopped. Emma felt her legs go weak. Jake grabbed her arm. "We're siblings," he said, his voice thick. "Emma, we're siblings." The tears started to fall. She covered her mouth with her hand. "So it's true. He's my father." "Yes." Emma looked at Richard. The man who had just been confirmed as her father was sitting in his chair, expressionless. "Aren't you going to say anything?" she asked. "Tell what you want me to say." "Anything, some kind of reaction." Richard sighed, annoyed. "Congratulations. Now we're an officially dysfunctional family." Emma felt the anger rise. "Is that it? Is that all you have to say? What do you want? For me to cry? To apologize?" "I'm not going to do either of those things." "My mother is dead," Emma said, taking a step forward. "She died without anyone knowing who I was, without you knowing I existed. She chose not to tell me. That's not my fault. Not your fault. You got involved with her. You used her. And when she got pregnant, she had to leave because she knew you would never take responsibility. You don't know anything." "I know enough. I know you are exactly the kind of man my mother said you were. Cold, selfish, heartless." Richard finally stood up. "Are you done? Because I have a meeting in half an hour." Emma looked at him. At the father she had waited her whole life to meet, and she felt nothing, not anger, not sadness, just emptiness and release. "You can relax," she said, her voice firm. "I don't want your name. I don't want your money. I don't want anything from you." "Good, because you're not getting it." "I just wanted the truth, and now I have it." Emma turned to leave. Jake grabbed his father's arm. "You just found out you have a daughter who has starved, who almost died, who fought her whole life alone, and you feel nothing. I didn't ask for her to exist, but she does, and she is your responsibility. No, she's not. She's an adult. She can take care of herself." Jake squeezed his father's arm tighter. "Joyce, do you know what she's done? She returned medicine to buy food for her daughter. She starved so Lily could eat. And you're sitting here in your mansion saying she can take care of herself. And what do you want me to do?" Jake let go of his father's arm in disgust. "I don't want anything from you. I just wished you had an ounce of humanity." "But you don't. Is your crisis of conscience over?" Jake looked at his father. "I feel sorry for you, because you have an amazing daughter, and you can't even see it. You have a beautiful, smart granddaughter, and you'll never know her, because you choose to be alone. I'm not alone. I have everything I need. You have nothing. You have money. But you have nothing that actually matters." Jake walked out of the study. Emma was in the hallway, wiping her tears. Jake hugged her, tight. "Now you have a brother," he said, "and Lily has a real uncle." Emma sobbed into his shoulder. "Why doesn't he care?" "Because he doesn't know how. He never has. You're his son and you care. Because I learned there's something more important than money. I learned it from you and Lily. Emma pulled back, wiping her face. What do we do now? Jake smiled. Now we move forward, together, as a real family. 5 days later, Jake showed up at Emma's apartment early in the morning. Let's go for a ride. Where? Surprise! Lily jumped with excitement. I like surprises. Emma grabbed her purse and they left. Jake drove to a neighborhood Emma didn't recognize. It was residential. Nice. Houses with yards, trees on the sidewalks, kids playing. Jake pulled up in front of a 2-story house, white walls, big windows. A front yard with colorful flowers. This is it, he said. This is what? Emma asked, confused. Jake got out of the car. He walked up to the door and took a key from his pocket. Jake, what are you doing? He opened the door. Come on in. Emma walked in slowly. The living room was beautiful. Light wood floors, a comfortable sofa. Windows with white curtains letting the sun in. Lily ran inside. Mommy, it has stairs. Emma looked around. The kitchen was spacious. It had a dining table, a pantry. Jake, whose house is this? He didn't answer. He just smiled. Lily ran up the stairs. Emma followed her. On the second floor, there were 3 bedrooms, 1 large, 2 smaller. Lily opened the door to one of the smaller rooms and shouted, Uncle Jake, it has a bed, and a closet, and a big window. Emma went into the room. The walls were a soft yellow. There was a twin bed with a floral comforter, a white dresser, a desk. It was perfect for a child. Emma went back into the hallway. She opened the largest room. It was spacious, with a queen-sized bed, white curtains, a dresser. She went downstairs slowly. Jake was waiting. Jake, whose house is this? He took an envelope from his pocket and handed it to her. Emma opened it. Inside, there was a deed, and the name on it was Emma Carter. She looked at him, her eyes wide. No. Yes. Jake, and you didn't. I did. The house is mine. It's yours, in your name. Emma started to cry. Jake, you didn't have to. He took her hands. I'm your brother. Now it's my turn to take care of you guys. This is too much. It's not. You deserve a safe place, a place that's yours, where no one can take it away. But. No buts. The house is yours. It's all paid for, everything in your name. Emma sobbed and hugged her brother. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Lily ran down the stairs and hugged both their legs. Are we going to live here? Emma bent down, getting on her daughter's level. We are, honey. This is our home now. Our real home. For real. I have my own room, Lily shouted. Uncle Jake, I have my own room. Jake laughed, a genuine laugh, full of joy. Yes, you do. All yours. Lily ran back to the stairs. Can I put my drawings on the wall? You can put up whatever you want. The girl ran upstairs, shrieking with happiness. Emma looked at Jake. I don't know how to thank you. You don't have to. Seeing you two happy is enough. You changed our lives. You changed mine too. Emma wiped her tears and looked around. It's all so beautiful. You deserve beautiful things. I've never had anything like this. Now you do. Emma walked through the living room, touching the furniture, feeling that it was real. We're really going to live here. You are, and I'll be close by always. Jake smiled. And for the first time in his life, it was the smile of someone who belonged. Someone who had found his place in the world. He was no longer the lonely businessman. He was a brother, an uncle, family. 2 weeks later, Emma and Lily were settled into the new house. Lily had decorated her room with drawings, stuffed animals, and books that Jake had bought. Emma had filled the kitchen with food. The pantry was full. The refrigerator, too. She no longer had to worry if there would be food for the next day. She no longer had to choose between medicine and food. For the first time in her life, she could breathe. On a Saturday afternoon, Jake came over for lunch. Emma had made pasta, Lily's favorite. After eating, Lily sat on the living room floor with paper and crayons. What are you drawing? Jake asked. Wait, I'll show you in a minute. She concentrated for about 15 minutes. Then she held up the drawing proudly. It was a little house, with a yard in front, and 3 people outside. A tall, blonde woman, a small, blonde girl, and a tall man with dark hair. "This is Mommy," Lily pointed. "This is me, this is Uncle Jake. And this is our house." Jake felt his eyes sting. "Can I keep this drawing?" "You can. I'll make another one." "Thank you. I'll keep it forever." Emma looked at the drawing, at her brother, at her daughter, and she smiled, a real smile of happiness, of peace. "Now," she said, "we have everything we need." Jake took her hand. "Yes, we do." Lily went back to drawing. Emma leaned her head on her brother's shoulder. Jake closed his eyes, soaking in the moment. Family. After so long, he finally understood the meaning of that word. It wasn't blood. It wasn't money. It wasn't obligation. It was choice. It was love. It was being present. And for the first time in his life, Jake Morgan was exactly where he was supposed to be. Home. If this story touched your heart, subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications so you don't miss the next ones. Leave a like because it helps this story get recommended to more people. See you in the next story.